Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us this morning or evening, wherever you might be coming in from. My name is Matt Cornwell, and I'm the Associate Director for Student Services in the Saunders College of Business. We appreciate you jumping on the session today. So we have a faculty roundtable discussion here that we are going to facilitate. So this is a great opportunity for you all to connect with faculty regarding questions, research interests, curriculum, all of those types of things that you may have interest in and want to gain some further insights on. Just a couple logistical pieces. If you need closed captioning, there is that function in the bottom of the Zoom screen, so feel free to put the captions on if you need those. And then any questions at all, please feel free to put those in the chat. We will address those. We welcome those. And this is why we're holding the session, right? We want to answer your questions. We certainly have some discussion points that we'll hit on that are, scripted, but we also want to hear from you. So without further ado, I will start with Shaul, if you just want to jump in first, and then we can just work our way around with introductions.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Sujali and Daniel. I'm Shal Khazanchi. I'm Associate Dean for Graduate Programs and Research here in Saunders. I look forward to talking with you a little bit today.
Thank you, Shal. Archana, go ahead.
Okay, my name is Archana Jain. I'm the Department Chair for Finance and Accounting and also Program Director for Accounting. So happy to be here.
Hello, my name's Hao. I'm a finance professor. I'm also the director of the finance program. Thank you.
And just so folks know, Hao does have to jump off a little bit early. So we'll work him into some of these questions, pepper him a little bit with questions early on here. But so I'd like to start with, for the three of you, when you're reviewing and considering students for our programs, what are some of the key pieces that you like to see from a student? And I don't love the terminology ideal student, but in terms of that fit and that mold, what are you looking for in a student when they're considering our graduate programs on the whole? Hal, I'll start with you, and we can work our way around.
Okay, I think we are really looking forward to the students who are self-motivated. So because the finance profession, finance industry are keep changing, right? So we hope students, they are curious, they are really have a greater curiosity. They want to become a lifetime learners. They want to learn something, self-motivated learner. Second is we hope our students can be they can be good at both the finance side also and analytics side. The reason I mentioned that because finance industry become more and more data-based and analytic driven. So if we take a look at recent job advertisement, most of this job advertisement require students to have some kind of data analytics skills. Actually, RIT and our Saunders College is well positioned to prepare students for this kind of career because we are a finance program in Saunders College at RIT, a technology university. Yeah.
Thank you, Hal. Appreciate that. Great insights, and I think it's really important to recognize that we really do strive to find motivated, driven, and hungry students. That's really what we strive for in the profile of students, and that hardworking capability, which you can certainly exhibit throughout the process. Shaul and Archana, anything else you want to add there?
Yeah, I'm going to let Archana go. Yeah.
I was going to say more in terms of discipline for accounting and finance, and I think true for everybody, that sort of time management and organization skills. So, that's important, again, to be able to work outside the classroom. So grad programs are not just what you do in the classroom, but outside also, there's a lot of work, teamwork. So again, willing to work with teams, Can you better organize your work and time management, and all those skills are also important. And that some of it can be reflected in the resume also. If you have, like, for example, gap in your resume, if you refer the wrong school name and things like that can stand
Yeah.
out, that you're not paying attention to details. So that's the other thing I would say.
Yeah, that's huge. You wouldn't believe how many times we get applications where the wrong school is listed, or even an inquiry, which again is a little bit lower level, but still that's not a great first impression, right? So I think that's really important. It's good insight. Shaul, anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, I think I used to be program director in my previous life. So we want to admit students who we believe will succeed in the program. And there are different metrics that are used to assess that. So generally, students think that it's the score. It's not necessarily just the score, or it's your overall portfolio. I think what Archana was mentioning is their gap, but also consistency and what you have done in your earlier undergraduate education and your essay. Believe it or not, we are getting skilled at distinguishing the ones that you submit through ChatGPT. Believe it or not, we can read it and kind of assess this is ChatGPT. So all of those things are details are important, but basically our assessment is based on, do we believe that you will succeed in the program? That's an overall assessment.
Yes,
Yep.
absolutely. Thank you. So to segue into the next kind of piece of this, which is layered into the ideal student piece, but how can you give an example of a successful student that comes to mind, just, how they got there, kind of employment wise, what they're doing and what that looked like for them?
Yes, I can give one example. So I think 2 years ago, there was students. She originated from an African country, and she spent several years there, working in a different industry. Later on, she decided to join in our program to pursue a career in finance. So during the program, I can see she has a little bit weaker background. However, we really have a nurturing environment. I think all the professors here are really good teachers. We work together with her. I think with time goes by, I can see she grow. She actually developed a very strong skills in different finance analysis field, right? So in the end, she joined the Citibank. And then last year, actually it's early this year, she sent me email. She got promoted and then moved to another department. I think she's doing very well in Citibank now. So I think that's the one example. Actually, we have some other students from different countries. They came here. They later on they join in a different company. I think we have more success story. If you later on you have question, I can provide more. I just use this as one example. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a great point. We are certainly happy to connect folks with current students, but also former students. We have a really good alumni connection there. So if you do have questions and trying to get, that student perspective, we're happy to do that. We did host a current student panel a couple of weeks ago too, which is on our YouTube channel. So feel free to view that as well. But again, we're happy to make those connections. So I think, so Archana and Shaul, did anything else you want to add there with the student example piece, or I can jump into the next component?
Yeah, I think what Hao is saying is a lot of your success, and I think Archana mentioned, depends on how much initiative you take and how resourceful you are. So you have all the resources available to you. It depends. So Hao was talking about a student, and we just had another student from one of the other MS programs. She is, I believe, international students in business analytics. Lot of initiative taking. She met with a lot of faculty members, developed relationships, and she ended up with a 6-figure salary in California, and was very happy with what she found. But so the point is, there's a lot of resources available. There is very supportive environment, and sometimes it just it's a matter of you taking the initiative and reaching out.
Yeah. Do you mind I add a little bit before Archana, very quickly? I think I totally agree with that. For that student, actually, when she needs help, she asks for help. So that's the way we know she needs help. Okay. Second is I also realize she's a little bit more outgoing. I think communication skill, networking skill are really important in the job searching. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it may seem obvious to some, well, if I need help, I'm going to ask for it. But again, we're reinforcing that, right? We really want to connect with you. You don't have to feel like, oh, hey, I'm nervous to connect with this faculty or reach out. No, that's not the environment and culture we create within Saunders. And we'll speak to a little bit of some of those highlights of Saunders as an environment and kind of the community. But we want to know what you're doing. We want to connect with you. And again, as we said from the outset, we want you to be successful. And that's why we admitted you, because we feel that you can do that. So we want to help you in that process. So to that, Archana, anything else that you wanted to add there?
No, I'm just going to give you one more example. There was a student, she was so nervous, like, okay, you have these industry professionals, but I don't know how to talk to them, how to go in front of them. So I said, just come and stand there in front of me or next to me for one meeting. And then next time you talk to one person, next time you talk to two people. And she is now goes to all the networking event and does, so you come and tell us and we'll help you in any possible way. So again, be proactive, tell us about your problems, and then we will try our best to help you navigate those situations. So that's how they are successful. If you just sit in your own silo and don't tell us, we won't be able to help. So that's to be proactive to be successful.
Yes, thank you. Appreciate that. So to segue to just talking about Saunders from kind of a high level, and Daniel, I know you're a student here already, but for the other two, I don't believe you're a student at Saunders. And for those viewing this later, I think it's important to kind of set the stage of what Saunders is all about. But Hal, I'll start with you. What are some of the key differentiators for the College of Business specifically? Obviously, we're within the entity of RIT, but what are some of the key differentiators for Saunders and the College of Business here at RIT?
Okay, the first one, I feel that compared to some other institutions, Saunders colleges really have a very friendly environment. We are more like a bigger family here, right? So student and faculty member have very close relationship. So because I'm also in some kind of teaching award committee, I observe different colleagues teaching. I realize that almost all of our faculty members, they know student name. And then they know them even personally, right? So I think we have very good relationship between the faculty member and the student. Second is I think that the reason we have this kind of culture because we are a smaller college within this very big institution. So relative to RIT, we have a large university, but our college is a little bit smaller. That's the reason people get close to each other. But on the other hand, we also can enjoy a lot of resources at RIT, at this large institutional technology university level. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you, Hal. Appreciate that. Archana and Shaw, anything else you want to add there?
Yeah, so a couple of things that I can add, apart from the key highlight, as Hao said, is small classroom, so professors know you, but the resources of a large university. Other than that, we have our classes are, as we are RIT, so IT infused. We use technology in all aspects. So for example, when I just joined RIT, I used to teach with the financial calculator, but now I have completely switched to Excel because nobody's going to use calculator when they are working in those kind of situations. So we try to incorporate new technology as and when it is coming up in the market, and all the classrooms are experiential based learning. So again, it's not purely just lecture. We work hands-on and on the problems, on projects and discussions and things like that. So that's another differential. And then we have advisory board for most of our disciplines. So I can talk about finance and accounting, but that's true for everybody, I think. So we have advisory board, which is, again, high profile industry professionals who are very connected, very willing to come back and spend time with our students. And they also sometimes look at our curriculum. We ask them if there's anything missing, let us know. And then we try to incorporate those in our curriculum. But they are on campus often. They are willing to teach a class. They're willing to mentor one-on-one to students. And we do have for finance and accounting this opportunity where you get paired with one mentor, and you, for the whole year, you can talk to them about anything you want and how to get to be there where they are, resume building, mock interviews, all sorts of things. So we have in-house resources, of course, at Career Services, but again, you can connect with these industry professionals as well. And we do a lot of different events. So not only just with advisory board, but we have many different ways. So we invite these industry professionals to our club events. We, like, for example, recently we had a bank day forum or financial forum where 5 local banks came to RIT with the whole, with their recruiters and CFOs and CEOs and things like that. I can go on and on, man. Let me know if you want me to stop. So,
but I think that's the point, right? Is we can there's so many things that we can draw from here with the community piece.
So let me just say two more things for the clubs. So we have clubs for every kind that you can think of. FMA, Financial Management Association Club, for example, is a student managed fund where the student manage the portfolio. They decide what to buy and sell, are not just the club members, but any student can come and pitch the stock, and the analysts help you in preparing that. Same thing, we have accounting club where we invite speakers from outside and so on. And we have Bloomberg Lab, which was already there for quite some time, but again, the new building, a lot of state-of-the-art facilities that you wouldn't find even in some of the I don't know, Ivy League schools maybe, but our facilities are really state-of-the-art new facilities, and we are very excited. As you can tell, I don't know if you can tell from my voice, but it's very exciting to be here in this growing environment and all kind of resources that we have.
May I add a little bit here, Shah? And because I need to leave, I just add something here.
I was just gonna take it to you. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Because what Archana say here, actually, really, I just want to emphasize what she say here is really true. And then I can emphasize what we are teaching here is really we want to foster the practical, experiential learning here. For example, if we teach you investment, we provide a club, you can trade a real portfolio. We provide a Bloomberg terminal because we have alumni, they donate the money, we have Bloomberg terminals. We have students constantly tell us that they find a co-op job, full-time job, because they know the Bloomberg terminal, they gain an edge in the job market. So when we teach you investment, teach you corporate financial analysis, we have additional courses at high level, teach you how to implement them. For example, we have trading classes. Algorithm trading classes not only teach you how to analyze based on the paper, we really teach you how to use Python to get the data, analyze data, implement the investment strategy, and implement the trading. Okay, so basically, that's something I want to say. I need to leave for teaching. Okay.
Thank you, Al.
Yeah.
So,
thank you, Al. Appreciate it.
So this is true of all the programs. So I don't know if there are interest in other programs. So supply chain, and there is a supply chain association here. So you have clubs, MIS club. So you have all kinds of clubs here. But there's one other thing I wanted to add, right? It's a very inclusive environment. It's a very inclusive environment. By that I mean it's just not diversity by numbers. It really is a very inclusive culture. There are all kinds of things that you will see, not just the demographic diversity, but you also see diversity from different schools, because you will have students from engineering and computing taking courses with you. So that diversity is also there, which is very rich, right? It enriches your learning experience. It changes your perspective when you are with students from different backgrounds, not just culturally and demographically, but also discipline-wise. The other thing I would add, I am at the risk of maybe stereotyping a little bit just by your names. Seems like a couple of you are international students or have that in the background. Maybe not. But we will say we do very well placing our international students. Our rates for international students placement is close to 95%. And that is at the 6-month mark. So we do very well in terms of the outcome in the placement itself. So all the support that you heard Archana and Hao talk about exists for other programs, and including placement. We are very fortunate, and we are one of the few schools to have a person in-house that is supporting your placement needs. So you have a university-wide setup of a large university for career and placement support, but you also have a person, we have Julio within the college, who really works very closely in bringing in the companies. And we recently had a banking day. He's working with other companies to do something in AI. So he brings companies on campus to our schools, to our students. And so you have that level of support. So it's really huge, and we are fortunate to have that.
Thank you, Shaw. Appreciate that. I just also want to reiterate the building expansion piece, because I think that's huge, right? So for those, again, Daniel, I know you're on campus now, but for the others joining and again, viewing later, we just underwent and finalized a $40 million building expansion. So that includes team rooms. So we have students that want to access this space where they can study, they can work on team projects. We have, I think it's like 15 plus of those spaces, and you can reserve those, right? Those are for you all to reserve as a student. We have a brand new event space, a huge new auditorium. The space in the building is very much more conducive to finding the environment and staying in the building to complete, again, just any projects or work that you're going through. And then in addition to that, there are a few new research labs, a few spaces that we're using as classrooms as well, but the environment itself is fantastic. And again, the space itself has doubled the size of our previous building. So we're really excited about that. And it's a great environment. So if you do have any questions on that, I think we may have a virtual tour online currently as well. We can send that over to folks if they want to see it. But I just wanted to emphasize that as well. So I will, again, so I do want to mention any questions that folks have, please put those in the chat. So we will definitely address those. So fire those away as we kind of get to the Q&A portion here. But the other piece I just want to ask Shaw and Archana is advice. So any advice that you have for these students as they're working through the process of considering grad school options, considering programs, what are some things that you would recommend they do and they consider as they work through this process?
So again, do a research on who are the faculty, what are they doing, where are the alums placed, and the curriculum, how does it fit your career goal? So those are some of the aspects that I would do my homework on as I'm considering different schools. So for example, all of our master's programs are STEM based, and like I said, technology infused and experiential based learning. So compare that if you can. Most of the schools, they post their sort of course description. If you look at the curriculum and other courses, you can get some idea of what type of courses we are offering, what are we covering in those courses, and look at our faculty. So we are all here doing cutting edge research, and we're all, that's another opportunity, that research meaning more generating new knowledge, and that always uplifts the profile of the school, the education that you get, and so on. So look at what kind of work we are doing. There might be opportunities for you to engage in those projects as well. So We do, there's opportunity for students to work as GSW, graduate student worker, and most of the time you are paired with a faculty, you apply for that. You can maybe working on some aspect of their research and learning from them and so on. So again, see what we have to offer, compare it if you want to with the other, and see what stands out for you and what will be what you need to be successful. Do we have that? And I believe we do. So you can you don't have to take my word for it. You can do your own homework and look at alumni placement and things like that. So that's what I would suggest.
Okay, I can give lots of advice. I'm a professor, right? I do that for a living. I can just keep dishing out. And I have a 16-year-old, so I can give a lot of advice. But I think two things I will tell you, and I tell my 16-year-old or 15-year-old is take the initiative, be resourceful, be resourceful. It's your education. We do the best that we can, and we don't cut corners, but that doesn't mean it's always working, right? So if it's not working and we are all there, I'm always available, faculty are available, department chairs are available, student services is available, reach out. So it's your experience. Take full responsibility for making sure that you get a positive experience. We will provide positive experience. We will do the best that we can. So take initiative. And the second, I always say, have fun. Learning ought to be fun. So take the courses, be part of the clubs, be part of activities that give you joy and happiness. And that's when you thrive. And if you can't find something that's giving you happiness, then reach out. Again, it goes back. Keep the loop going. Keep having fun. Keep taking initiatives. All right.
Yes, so great points. And I think, again, the theme of this, I think, has been that initiative piece, but it's true throughout all of the process, right? I will in just a minute. So I threw a couple links in the chat to the faculty directory, so that that directory is very robust. So it includes research that faculty have done, their backgrounds and things like that, so that it's broken out by department. And then also just the link to the program pages. Hopefully most of you have seen that, but it's to all the different program offerings that we have. And as Archana mentioned, it is broken out by course, so you can look at course descriptions and get a sense of each individual class. But again, if you have questions on that stuff, reach out, right? And if there's specific things you're looking for, let us know. I'll also throw in the chat in just a minute some alumni profiles, a link to those that we have on the website as well. But at this point, I do want to jump into any Q&A. So any questions that folks have. In the meantime, Archana or Shal, is there anything else that you wanted to highlight or discuss today with the session? Anything else that you wanted to just add in here?
You'll get tired of listening to this, but as you are making your decisions, I don't know if you've already made your decision, but as you are making your decision, any information that we can provide to help you make the decision, and you should reach out, right? So as you're comparing, as you're thinking about different things, if something looks you don't know, we'll fill the holes for you. All of us are available. So reach out for the information as you are continuing to think about, process information, and make decisions.
All right, I'm going to throw that other link in the chat here for the alumni spotlights. I would also just reiterate to Shal's point that if you do want to potentially, we talked about this a little bit amongst ourselves, but look at sitting in on a class or test driving a course, let us know. And we can, we have online courses too. So, we could, if you're not, physically in the area, we can certainly allow you to jump into that and discuss that with faculty, but we're always open to that. So keep that in mind as well. All right, but questions from folks. And if you do want to unmute yourself, feel free to do that. But any questions that folks have on program, curriculum, again, application process, anything, we can certainly address any of it.
Yeah, okay. Hi, I'm Pawan. Can you all hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Yes, Pavan, thank you for joining us. Go ahead.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Hi, Archana, Shal, and Matthew. I've applied on March 16th. It's been a week, and my program would be MS in Accounting and Analytics. So, how long it will take a decision on the application? As you know, the dates are commencing. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
so yeah, absolutely. And Arch, I'll certainly let you jump in, but timeline wise, I would say another, few business days, so maybe early next week. We tend to process, reviews pretty quickly. So it's typically, a 2 to 3 week time frame, but generally speaking, it's typically a lot quicker than that. But you should hear something pretty soon on that. Barge, anything you want to add with that, given the accounting and analytics interest?
No, so that's what I was going to say. I don't know how long the process of when does the app come to us, but as soon as it comes from international office to us, we review it pretty soon and send it out. But it might not be with us at this point. It might still be with the international student office. But so I don't know about the timeline of that. Yeah.
And also, just to reiterate, the application has to be fully complete. So that includes the test scores, any test scores, so GMAT or GRE and TOEFL or IELTS. So if you haven't submitted those, you would have gotten a notification that you didn't. But I'm kind of assuming that you submitted everything. But the other pieces would be personal statement, resume. You do have to pay the application fee as well. But those are the key components there that would need to be completed for us to then obviously review.
Yeah, thanks for your information. So I have already seen my status on the application portal.
Perfect.
So everything are ticked except the visa documents.
Which is fine. You don't have to worry about that at this point.
Yeah.
So then it's in progress. So we'll get it and likely review even later this week or early next week. So yeah. So you'll hear soon.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us. And Pavan, where are you coming in from? Where's home for you?
I'm born and raised in Hyderabad, and
Okay.
at the moment I'm working for KPMG Delhi office.
Great. Awesome. Great.
Yeah, so I'm working for KPMG India Private Limited in Delhi. Yeah, so yeah.
Good for you.
I think
That's
I
awesome.
see your application. Your background is BS in computer science, right?
Yeah. I'm a science grad
Yeah.
and I've done a PG diploma in international business and accounting.
Right. So with that, what is your goal if you're trying to work in the public accounting or private accounting? Because you may not be eligible for CPA. So that's the other thing I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're looking to work in public accounting, then this program may not be enough because you will not meet the requirement of the 33 accounting credit hours. But if you just want to work in private accounting, that will be fine. Is that what do you have some plans of what you want to do?
Yeah, that is what mostly I'm looking for private firms to work.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
So that was
I'm already, yeah.
actually I did
Sorry.
receive your application, and that was the question that I had, and I was going to follow up through Peggy about, just so you know, this will not make you eligible for CPA exams. Yeah.
Yeah. So, however, I do not have anything in mind to do CPA.
Okay. So then should be fine. You should hear from us soon.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Great.
Thanks, Achina. Yeah. Thanks.
Good timing. All right. Other questions that folks have? And if I could just ask, Sajali, what program are you? Oh, okay. You just sent me a note. Great timing. Read my mind. Okay, so Sajali has been admitted, and I apologize if I'm not pronouncing that correctly, has been admitted to the MS Global Supply Chain Management, and she wants some insight on classes, how classes take place, for example, like how much theory and how much case study discussion and how much assignments are given. So I think that's a good question. So Jolly, and again, I'll turn it over to Archana and Sean in just 1 second. go to that link that I submitted as well, that I sent through the chat. That the second one will take you to the program curriculum. So definitely explore that. But Shawl, anything else you want to
Yeah.
add with that?
Yes. So I used to be department chair. I've done all kinds of things. Supply chain is in management department. So your question is what kind of courses, what kind of assignments? So assignments is very granular question that depends on individual faculty member, but most faculty member pace it accordingly as per. So you're not overwhelmed but challenged enough. But I'll speak to the courses. So like Archana mentioned, we are at Technology Institute. So all of our courses are in one way, shape, or form technology infused. So in supply chain curriculum, you have courses such as supply chain analytics, which Professor Larish Guntuka is teaching, and he brings it unique data sets from one of the companies that he is working at on research. So that's the advantage of having a faculty member who are doing a cutting edge work. They not only bring new ideas and challenge you in ways that is not conventional and that is not popular press, but is really brand new, but also give you opportunity to work with companies. It also has a capstone, so you work on company-sponsored projects. So it's a very applied. So it's a balance. I would say it's a balance. You need a contextual or a theoretical or a scientific knowledge that undergirds your practice. And then you are given opportunity to apply some of those principles through your projects, through capstones, through curriculum. It also, the program is global supply chain. So then one of the other courses, again, Matt asked you to take a look at it, is again, global analytics. So it gives you a sense of using analytical tools in the context of the global environment and how that impacts supply chain. So it's a mix. Your question was how much theory, how much practice. It's a blend, leaning heavy on the applied and practical side of it, because what you learn, you need to be able to apply through case studies. It's a graduate coursework. You apply it through capstone projects. You apply it through different assignments in class. I hope that answers your question a little bit.
Thank you, Shaw. Appreciate that. And Sujali, I would just say in terms of like the format of each class, we do offer a predominantly in-person courses, particularly if that's what you want. Like if you are, and obviously for international students, you have to have
It's
that,
in-person.
but I just want to make clear that the classes are offered in person. Generally speaking, there's 1 day a week evening courses that are offered in the evenings, and then you may have a few classes that are twice a week during like the day afternoon type of time frame. But yeah, so that's kind of the expectation with the courses, and you'll take probably 3 to 4 classes per semester within global supply chain.
And I wanted to add a couple of things about the supply chain program. Supply chain program has a very high level of alumni outcomes. In fact, it was ranked until recently in the top 50 on QS rankings for the alumni outcomes, meaning you get very nice placements after the program. If you have questions, still have questions really about the program and curriculum, you should reach out to Matt. He'll connect you to the faculty member and the department chair, and they'll be more than happy to answer your questions.
Yeah, this question is to Archana, as I've asked. So, anytime after completing the master degree for a science graduates, do we have an opportunity to do a CPA at some point after completing the course?
So for the CPA in New York State, you need 120 hours, 150 hours of schooling. Out of that, there are some hours has to be business, and then 33 hours in accounting. So you will not, even if we were to finish all 3 and take, let's say, an extra course to get 33 accounting hours, you still don't have business hours, right? So I'll send you the link. So that's what I was saying. This might not, the CPA route may not work for you. Of course, you can still do private accounting, but the CPA part is, I'm worried that you may not meet the eligibility requirement for that.
Yeah. As I told you, I'm more interested in working for public and private accounting. But however, at some point, maybe in subconscious mind, we may have an intention to do CPA.
Right. So
So,
I don't think you can with your undergrad in I don't think you took any business courses during your undergrad,
So-
but so
I have a master degree in finance and for
okay,
almost 6 months.
so there might again.
So
So I will send you
yeah,
the link. You can do some calculations, and then if you have specific question, we have the experts here who are they can exactly tell you how many hours you have and how many are lacking, and they can tell you. So if you want to know that before deciding to come here, let me know, and I will put you in touch with the person who can kind of evaluate your transcript and tell you exactly.
all right. However, I have a degree of 12 months. So in that I have studied.
Yeah, so they're very strict about hours and everything. So
Yeah.
that's what you have to check. Yeah.
However, yeah, thank you.
All right. And then Husan, I was just curious, did what program you were, I know you jumped in late, but what program you were thinking about and if you're admitted or where you kind of stand in the process? And that's okay if you can't unmute. If you want to throw it in the chat, that's fine as well. Any other questions that folks have? I think this has been really fruitful and a really, really good session. But any other questions that anybody would like addressed? Okay, all right. Well, we certainly appreciate your time. And again, we are here. If you have any questions moving forward, you can find us all in the directory as well, Archie and Shaw in the faculty directory. And then, certainly my information's all over the website. So feel free to check that out and reach out if you have questions. Hopefully, I assume all of you got my email over the last couple days. We do have additional sessions coming up. So there's actually 3. And so Jolly, there's one specific to supply chain that I think would be really great for you to attend. We're doing that a week from, actually, it's next Wednesday. So in 6 days, that one will be at 9:30 Eastern time. And then Monday of next week, we're doing a session specific to co-op and career. So with our folks, our colleagues in the co-op and career services office, just going through what that process is, the support, resources. And then I'll also be doing an Ask Me Anything next Thursday evening. So I know that's not ideal for some of you, just given the time frame, but we like to stagger those. But if you can join that, feel free to do that as well. So we have a bunch of stuff coming up in the next week or so. But y'all are Archana, anything else you want to add as we
I
wrap
just
up?
for Pawan, I have copied the link in the chat. If you look
Okay.
under that education requirement, it will give you the details of what do you need to be CPA eligible.
All right. Yeah, I'll check
Yeah.
your mail. Thank you. Yeah, thanks.
All right. Well, thank you again, everyone. Appreciate it. We will be in touch, but have a good morning, evening, wherever you are coming in from, and we hope to stay in touch going forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you. Thank you.